Good morning, Transformational Truth. We are so excited to come to you today with something that we think is going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully, you were able to catch our first podcast episode that we launched and posted just a little bit ago in our group. But if you watched that we're heading forward into some book writing and some podcasting and some different things like that we're so excited to be able to share with you. Well, one of the ways that we are going to include you in all of this for us and give you access to some exclusive content that we're creating as we move forward is we're going to start doing a Sunday riff off. Now, it's not going to be every Sunday. Y'all know how Rochelle and I work. We're going to let it flow. But the way that these Sunday riff offs are going to work is we are going to be taking topics and content that we're really passionate about, that we would like to talk about, and we would also like to collect content ideas from you. And we're going to keep and generate this list. And every Sunday, we're going to spin a wheel and you're going to get our raw, authentic, like everything reactions to it first. And then for the next week or two, you're going to notice that there's going to be content created around that particular topic just for you, just for this space. And so we get to do our very first Sunday riff off today. Good morning,
Yay!
Rochelle.
I'm so excited. Good morning, everyone. What I'm most excited about this is that Ashley and I tend to have these just random conversations about things. And we really realized that there was so much value, and we want to invite you into that space. So that's really what this is about. And if you're ever interested in doing one of these with us on a Sunday morning, please, like in the comment section, say, I would be interested. I mean, we don't need to commit completely on a date yet, but it would be fun to bring one or two of you into these, change it up a bit, because we really want to get to know you all better. And that's what we're stepping into this year, is bringing you in. What is your expertise? What is your opinion? What is your viewpoint? What is, like, we want this group to get to know you. And so we felt like, we're going to get started with this, but then we also want to create the invitation without expectation of just having you in this space and having everybody get to know you better through these or through a podcast, or even being contributors to our books so that you can be published. So just let us know what you think about that. Even if you don't want to commit yet, if you're just, it's on your heart, please just let us know, because we'd love your insight on that. So let's spin the
Absolutely.
wheel. I'm so
We're going to
excited.
spin the wheel. So, this is something that I feel like is just so much fun. I don't know if everybody else enjoys it quite as much as I do. But we have this amazing little wheel set up here for you. You'll notice it's our Transformational Truth ripoff wheel. Again, we would love to know what kinds of content, what ideas you guys would like to hear us talk about as well. So, like Rochelle said, there's also all sorts of different access points. So, if you want to be on one of these Sunday morning riff offs, amazing. Let us know. If you got content ideas, you can also comment and let us know that. We also would love to have your questions and things like that in the comments, because that's going to help us wrap around and create content that not only is speaking to this particular idea, whatever it happens to be for the week, but helps us to customize some of that for you and for your questions and kind of the direction that your minds are going. So here's our first Sunday morning riff off wheel spin. I'm so excited. Oh, Rochelle.
Aw.
Okay, so we are going to tackle some self-love conversation. And so you guys need to understand something. This is totally riff off, so clearly we did not know what we were talking about. But here's what you need to understand. This was actually the first topic that Rochelle and I even considered discussing for February. And we kind of were thinking about, just it's a share the love month. There's, all sorts of things that are going on about it. And so many people miss the self-love side of February. It's also been a journey that both Rochelle and I have been on in a very deep way. In a very deep way, for a long time, really. But wouldn't you say, Rochelle, more in the last like year and a half to year?
Absolutely. And it really kicked off, I think, when we developed Transformational Truth, is when
Hmm.
we did like everything leading up to Transformational Truth, and then committing to what this meant, not only for others, but for ourselves. I feel like so many times people create things for other people and they leave themselves out.
They
And
do.
I think that's where a lot of times people get burned out, because we get burned out when we're constantly giving and not receiving, there's like this element of guilt
Mm,
that we should just be giving, giving, giving. That's what makes us a good person. And, but what can we give to others if we don't have anything for ourselves? And I know for me, funny enough, it started a lot surrounded by bath bombs, just
mm-hmm.
bath and having that time with myself to listen to an audiobook, which I love to do, but it's very difficult to do with 4 kids around all the time.
Absolutely.
And so that was like, I think I started that 2.5, 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And that for me was like something I could show up consistently for myself. Um, I love that we landed on self-love.
I
This
do
is
too. I'm
it's well, we are manifestors, so
we
I'm wondering
are.
if we manifested that. But yeah, I think we can love others more deeply when we make self-love a priority.
I agree. And I think, and I know you feel the same about this. I also think this is one of those topics that can get really buzzwordy, right? Like people will throw around things like self-care or whatever. And then kind of along that guilt line, I'm really glad that you brought that up, Rochelle. It's like not only can we sometimes feel guilt about taking too much for ourselves, right? Being selfish or something along those lines when we're looking at this, which is totally false. But also, if we don't like know ourselves very well, there can
Mhm.
also be guilt because if everybody's talking about self-love or everybody's talking about self-care, and I don't actually know how to give myself time and space to do that, or if I have it in my mind that society's got specific ways that my self-care is supposed to look,
Oh,
where I'm
yes.
like going to get things done, or I'm taking the vacation, or I'm getting enough workouts in, or whatever, and it becomes an expectation for myself that I'm now not meeting, then I think there can be a really tricky space there that people end up in when the reality is that it's all about how we gift things. So whether we are loving on somebody else, right? We want that to be gifted out of our own will, right? Not out of obligation, not out of desperation, not out of a desire for anything else, right? Which is where we label that as not selfish. We need
Yeah.
the same time and space for ourselves. And I feel like I already know some of the content that we're going to end up creating around this in the next
I do.
couple of weeks because I feel like we have both really been on this journey of learning what it looks like, knowing that sometimes self-love actually takes practice and takes reflection. And some of that reflection can also be really difficult because in order for me to acknowledge what I need, sometimes I've got to acknowledge what I'm not getting or what I haven't been giving myself permission to have. And
Yeah.
so there's a lot that's, I don't know, I think there's a lot that's around there, but I'm really excited because I think that this is a topic that a lot of people need permission to dig into more deeply.
Yeah. I know, as you were talking, I was thinking about like a real vulnerable thing that I wanted to
Mm,
that somebody else might identify with.
sure.
Self-love always felt icky to me.
Mm,
I don't know why. And I feel like through healing a lot of things, not necessarily that I did, but like that other people did to me,
mm,
like definitely my chapter in the book describes a lot of that kind of stuff. Um, I could not say with conviction that I loved myself until last year.
mm,
And I think that and I was doing things, I was
sure.
doing self-care things or what have you, and so it was all part of the process, but I couldn't say with conviction that I loved myself. And once I did that, I was able to set healthier boundaries. I was able to protect that space.
Mm,
I think that that was I don't allow myself to be hurt the way that I used to.
mm.
I'm able to respond in healthier ways. And I know we're going to talk about other topics like boundaries and things like that, but
A lot of
um,
it's connected though.
it's so connected. And I think self-love journey is going to be so personalized for everybody. It's not just going to be a healing journey. It's not going to just be doing things, like
Hmm.
or massages or quiet time or whatever it looks like for you. But for me, it was really, I mean, I didn't love myself till I was 45. That's like that's huge, you know, like
It
I don't
is.
have to go the rest of my life being in that state anymore. And I think that now, um, I don't know, it's just it's such a personalized thing. And I love how you brought up like the societal things
Mm-hmm.
because it's really that self-discovery space that we have to
Mm,
intentionally choose. That's kind of the first step, in my opinion, is
it really
intentionally
is.
making that space. And even if it's just like a 10-minute walk to just be by yourself,
Mm-hmm.
without guilt. And I know that as women, guilt is such a huge topic.
It's so huge.
It's so huge.
It's not on our wheel yet, but maybe it should be.
I think we had it because I think, you know, as girls, we're conditioned to feel guilty about having our needs met
Mm,
in different capacities.
yeah.
And just, I didn't think I was going to bring this up, but we just live in such a male dominated energy world that I really see that we're shifting. And I think that that's like a beautiful permission space that we're creating, not only for ourselves, but for other women. So,
I agree. I feel
Anna.
like
Oh,
I have two thoughts on this, and then we're totally gonna wrap this up because there's you guys are gonna you're gonna see all these themes showing up in the content that we create over these next couple of weeks. But the first thing I was thinking about as soon as you started talking about our like that masculine versus feminine energy, I would say that one of our first steps that I distinctly remember you and I talking about before we really had conversations about self-love were
mhm.
about stepping more into our feminine energy.
Yeah.
And I really think so. There's another topic that I feel like needs to get added to the wheel because I think, and I actually had a conversation with somebody else the other day that we're in a weird space in society where sometimes our more aware people who embrace masculine energy also feel like they're not supposed to be there. And then
Mhm.
we have these people who are like in this feminine energy, and that feminine energy has typically been mm, I'm trying to think of the right word, but just less. It's been
Mhm.
expected to be less. And
Yeah.
so I think that's really interesting. And it's a really interesting topic because in order to practice self-love, whether you're male or female, however you show up in those energies, it's about not only looking at what it is and accepting it for what it is, but like embracing it and letting it flow through you in the way it was designed to. And that's so much a part of that self-love space. The other thing that you were talking about, just with all the guilt and the knowing yourself, I feel like it goes back to some of our conversations on worthiness, right?
Mhm.
Because some
Yeah.
of what keeps us separate from self-love is the fact that we don't actually, at our core, not that we would say it out loud because many of us never would, but at our core, do we actually believe that we're worthy? And is that inherent worthiness something that is either allowing us to receive love from others, or more importantly, to stay on topic for this week, love from ourselves. And
Yeah.
so I want to encourage any of you who are new to this space or who are catching this episode for the first time. We actually also have an entire book club designed around gifts of imperfection that is sitting inside our Facebook group. And so if you're interested and you want to try and, take a look at that, do some of your own soul searching, I actually have a book that I will also be exploring that's on that worthiness topic here in just a couple of months. So I think that's an important I don't know, component. Like you said, so many of these are their own topics, but it's kind of an important foundational one for this self-love space as well. Oh, Rochelle, I'm so excited for the content for these next couple of weeks. This is going to be so great.
Yes, and I cannot wait to hear other people's viewpoints and opinions and just kind of the spaces that they're feeling about
Yeah,
this topic. Yeah,
it's
this
so
is going to
important.
be, it's going to be so good for everyone that participates in this or shares it out or what have you. And please
Yeah,
feel free to invite people into this group. We did start off kind of being very intentional about the people that we wanted to start it off with, but it has now been advertised in m3magazine.com. Check that out. It is this group is going international, I think. And I just put it on my recent website, wildlyfreellc.com. You'll be able to see updates for this group in both places. So we just wanted to expand it and create just a wonderful space of being authentic. So
Absolutely. And we would love to create that space with you. So feel free to like slam all those comments right underneath this, right? Like we want to hear all your thoughts. If you have thoughts about other topics, like we said before, if you're interested in being on something like this is not just the Rochelle and Ashley show. This is Rochelle and Ashley extending an invitation, like Rochelle said, without expectation. But extending an invitation for us to step into this space together because exploring transformational truth, that's something that's always going to be better when it's done in community. So
yeah.
we love you guys so much. Hope you enjoyed our first Sunday riff off. And we'll be giving you some information and some content that is related to that here in the coming days. Bye now.